Good afternoon, everybody. How are we all? Hi, Suzette from Canada. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Heather. Hi, Jean. Hi, Janet. Nice to have you all here again. I've got the window open, so I apologise if you can hear the dogs next door. They shouldn't be too bad, if I'm honest. Hi, Lisa. But you might be able to hear the birds singing as well, and that's nicer than the dogs. So it's actually not too bad today either. Hi, Hazel. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Jan. Hi, Lorraine. Lorraine, I think you need to go back and watch Lisa's Friday Night Live. Or was that last week? Can't remember. Let me have a look at my book. Yeah. Lorraine, go back and watch Lisa's Friday Night Live. Might be worth it. Lorraine Prosser, that is. Hi, Lorraine Peach. I don't remember seeing that name before. Welcome if it's your first time. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Kath from Australia. Hi, Bernadine from DC. Washington. Ooh, welcome. You've got no willpower, have you, Janet? Mind you, I don't blame you, if I'm honest. How can you resist what Lisa brings out, eh? Right, I think we'll make a start. There's a fair few of you here today, so we'll make a start. Hi, Josephine. Cold and rainy in Epsom. Well, it hasn't rained yet, but then it's only dinner time, so plenty of time. Hi, Val. Hi, Loretta from Indianapolis. It's nice to see so many US visitors, so thank you very much for joining me. Hi, Dorothy. Ooh, you ordered it, did you? Wow. Well, when you've watched this, you can go away and have a play, and then you can put your little mini album in the group this afternoon. No pressure. I'm kidding, obviously. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Carol. Right, let's make a start then. So we are using the fabulous Slimline multi-envelope. You can see the little QR code here. That's still valid for that offer. Was $29.99. It's currently $19.99, and that will finish tomorrow night. I would hazard a guess around about midnight. So if you want it with a full £10 off, now is the time to buy it. I don't think there are very many left. I do know there are some, but not very many, and I hazard a guess this will be one that won't come back. So if you want it, I would grab it now. Hi, Deborah. You've got this set, have you, Janet? So mini album in the group from you this afternoon as well then. Honestly, it's I think there's one page that I haven't managed to decorate, and if you could have seen my craft room desk and floor about 15 minutes ago, you would never have thought I would be sitting here with a clear desk. I have never made so much mess in ages and ages and ages, but hey ho, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. Watching from the sofa. Oh dear, Vanessa, that's not very good. You have to take more water with it. No, seriously, do take care and don't go dancing anytime soon, will you? So we're going to be using this fabulous set, and I'm going to be using the base die, the sort of the outline die, the very biggest die that's in the set, and the little end flap here that makes up the envelope. So the one that you saw me use on Monday. So I'm using the base one and this large flap at the end as well here. And do you think I managed to save this after Monday? I did put the pink strip down the side, and then I didn't like it, and I thought, all that work, and I'm just going to end up throwing it away. And then I had a sudden brainwave. I'll add a little bit more green, and I think it's just about managed to save it, so I'm quite pleased. So there you go, can be done if you try. So you need the base piece. You will need to cut 5 of those, okay, and just 2 of the end flaps. Make sure you use the larger one though, because I don't think the smaller one will be quite big enough for what I'm going to do. Okay, so the end flap, the large one, and the base die. Okay, you don't need to use anything else unless you want to use some of the little embellishments. All right, so I'll put that there. So these are my 5, these are my 2 end flaps, okay, and then I cut 4 pieces in my paper that I've used all the way through the album, but I've actually cut off this little end piece here because I think it will adhere to the rest of the album better without designer paper on this little bit here, because you're going to put glue on here to attach it to the main album. Okay, so that's why I've cut that piece off. No worries, Janet. Hi, Linda. Hi, Sarah. Okay, so that's my 2 pieces of that and my 4 pieces to cover that with. And then I've got my 5 pieces that I've used the big base die to cut out with. All right. Now, roughly, that base die measures 8 3/4 inches long. Okay, so you want to cut the 5, and then what you need to do is cut each one down by 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so your main one is roughly 8 3/4. It's not quite, but it's such a tiny little difference. It really isn't going to make any issues for you. So then cut your next one and cut the end off so that it measures 8 1/2 inches. I haven't done a list for this because it's really quite straightforward. Cut each piece down by 1/4 of an inch. So your next one down is 8 1/2. Next one 8 1/4. Next one 8, and the last one 7 3/4. Okay, so you've got 5 pieces, all slightly smaller than the last one. Okay, and that's obviously because when you fold your album, you want the pages to sit inside that front cover. You don't want all those pages to stick out at the end. So by cutting them down by 1/4 of an inch each time, you won't get that. All right. And then what you need to do is put them into your scoreboard or whatever, and along the long edge, score it at 3 3/4. Okay. Turn it round and score it at 3 3/4. And do that on every single piece. So 3 3/4 every single time. Okay, and then you just need to fold and burnish. But when you fold, make sure that you're keeping it level. Okay, so just check that as you fold it over, I mean it should do, but just keep it level. Okay, and that's the outside piece of your album. So that's the first one. And then you're just going to do exactly the same with all of the others. Okay, now I know you can see tape on there. I'll come to that bit in a second. I just want to fold and burnish all of these. I didn't want to do it and then just say, and this is what you do. I just wanted to go through it all individually. I didn't want to bother cutting them out because you all know how to die cut. So it would just be like teaching my grandmother to suck eggs, as they say. Not heard that one before, have you? It's a new one for the book, Lorraine. Okay, so just fold and burnish those score lines. And then you need to add your tape so that you can join all these together. Okay, but I thought about this as just before I sort of put the tape on. And initially I was going to put them on the inside of the one before it. But when I thought about it, I thought it would probably be easier to put it on the outside of the one going into the one below. You'll see what I mean when I get to it. So this is the last one. This is a bit fiddly because it's only a very narrow binder. I know what I mean. Okay, so you burnished all those. So this is the outside of my card. It doesn't really matter because I'm covering both sides, all right? So it's going to go like that, like that, like that, and like that. Okay, so that when you fold it and you fasten it, all your pages will be roughly level. Okay, so when I came to put my tape down, I was going to put it here, but obviously with each progressive piece that you add in, your edge piece, your end piece, is going to get progressively smaller. Okay, so I thought it would be safer to put the tape on the outside of the one going into the first one, because then you can sight this in the middle and get it right. Are you with me? And then you're not going to have any tape where you don't need tape or glue or whatever it is you decide to use. Hi Helen, no worries. So that's what I've done. Where's my, put my tweezers down somewhere. Hey ho. So I'm going to take the tape off here, and I am going to add a small amount of glue as well. For one thing, it will make it a little bit more secure, and for another thing, it will give me a little bit of wiggle room for when I put it down. Okay. And I would always put this together before you decorate it, just because it's less fiddly. It's easier to add your pages to, or your decoration to your pages, rather than decorate all these and then put this together. It might just be a little bit too fiddly. Okay, so position that in the middle, line the edge up with the edge as best you can, and just hold it down for a couple of seconds. Okay, and because I've got glue on there as well as tape, it will be more secure. I'm using Lisa's glue, obviously, because I don't use anything else these days, and it is the best glue I've found. Nothing moves. Once you put your glue down and you've walked away, nothing's going to move. I don't like using tape on cards because tape does tend to dry out, and then you're at risk of your card falling apart. I mean, I save all my cards, so I'd like them to stay intact. So again, place that in the middle, line it up with the edge, make sure you've got it in the middle. So we'd look at it end on, it's probably the easiest way. And then you can see that you've got a gap here and a gap here, and it's about even. Okay, so as I say, the gap gets progressively smaller, and this is why I thought it would be easier to add the tape to this side rather than this side. That way I've not got tape where I don't need tape and risk sort of something sticking where it shouldn't. You might find a different way. You might not use tape. I think if I was doing this not as a live, I would probably not use tape. I would just use glue, because I would have a little bit more time to let it sort of sit and adhere properly. So I think, you know, the choice is yours, obviously. You do whatever suits you. I'm glad that I've used glue on top of the tape, because it just gives me that little bit of time to make sure that that's in the middle. Okay, and these panels are always going to be the same size. So when you come to cut all the card or paper or whatever you're going to decorate it with, on here, you're cutting them all to the same size. So I just cut all my pieces first before I decided how I was going to decorate it. Okay, so again, in the middle, line it up with the edge, make sure it's in the middle, and then press it down. Okay, so now you can see how those pages all sit inside one another. All right, so when you fasten it, it looks really nice. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my end flap to here. So I'm going to add that piece to there. Now, if you wanted to, you could round the corners of your album if you wanted to. I haven't, because it was just an added extra thing to do, and I didn't really want to, if I'm honest. So I've run out of red liner tape, so I am just using glue on here. So I'm going to have to be careful, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to put that on there like so and line that up with that score line on that end flap. Okay, and then when you come to do your fastening, I will just put a hole in here and feed a little bit of ribbon or twine through to make my fastening. Okay, so same on the back, add my glue down here and then add this to the front cover, back cover. Line it up with that score line. And like I said to you on Monday, it's not a deep score line, because the last thing Lisa wanted to do was make it a deep score line and risk cutting through your papers or whatever. Hello, Pat. How nice to see you. I hope you're doing okay, lovely. What weight of card am I using? To be honest, Jana, it's just some card I had in my stash. I didn't want to use Lisa's Extra Smooth because I haven't got much left, and I didn't want to use it for this. So this is just some, it's linen card by the looks of it, in cream, because it just went with my papers. But I'd say sort of probably about 250, because I think Lisa's is 250, and that would be ideal. I just didn't want to use such nice card for this because I'm going to cover every page. Measurements for the middle panels. Just score each of these. Once you've cut them down by 1/4 inch, just score them at 3 3/4, flip it round and score at 3 3/4 again, so that because your card's getting smaller, this piece in the middle will get smaller, so this spine in the middle will get smaller each time, but you still only need to score it at 3 3/4. Okay. I will put the instructions when I do the video up on YouTube later. I will put that in the instructions. Okay. I mean, it's not. It really isn't difficult, honestly. You cut 5 panels, leave one at the original size, cut all the others down by 1/4 inch each time, and then on the long end, score at 3 3/4, flip it round onto the other long end, score it at 3 3/4, and do that on every page. Okay, and then you will end up with a decreasing size spine. Can you see that? So your spine's progressively smaller each time, and that's why I put the tape on the piece of the spine that I'm attaching onto the inside. Are you with me? It really is dead easy, Janet, honestly. Okay, so now I'm going to add my designer papers to this piece here, and I'm not worried if it sort of overlaps this join. In fact, if anything, that's good, because it's slightly going to hide that join. All right, I'm not sure whether I'll get every page done while we're live, but I'll do my best. I mean, I have decorated most pages, so, and that's really what takes the time. So I'll put that piece on there, and then I'm going on the inside, and I'm going to put a piece on here as well. Now again, I know you can see the join here, but you won't once I've added the pages inside. So once I've covered these individual pages with what I've done, you won't see that. So don't worry about that. Okay. So add that down to there. Okay. And then do the same on the back. Now these papers that I'm using are the Vintage Garden. No longer available, I'm pretty certain. I think they all went. And I don't think they will ever come back, which is a real shame because I liked them. But never mind. Things move on. And, you know, we have equally nice things here and coming up. I mean, you could use the Modern Florals box kit papers if you wanted to. If you wanted to make it sort of a little bit more modern and a bit brighter and a bit funkier. I just particularly like these papers, and I'd got an idea in my head as to how I wanted it to look, so that's why I went with these papers. But you can use whatever you've got. You know, Lisa has had some beautiful papers out over the time she's been independent, so there you go. There's my flaps, and then, as I say, I should just make a hole here with a hole punch or whatever, and then feed some ribbon through or some twine through for my fastening. Okay, so pages. So the front cover, this is my spine. Okay, it's just literally piece of card with a piece of the designer papers that I've used all the way through, and then I've just added some gold gems down the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to put that on first because I want that to be sort of, I suppose I should have left it till last really, but it should be okay. And you only obviously need one of these because you've only got one spine showing because all the others are inside. So just open it out with a bit of pressure. Just hold on to it for a couple of seconds till that glue adheres properly. And like I say, once it's dry, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's my spine. And then I did my front cover. And as I say, these papers are the Vintage Garden. Let me show you. That was this pad. And I've just used lots of different pages and cut them down to size. When you come to cut them down to size, this actual panel measures, I think it's 9.5 by 11. So my papers, I've measured them all at 9 by 10.5 so that it fits, but it leaves me a nice cream border all the way around. But for the front cover and the back cover, I have added a piece of contrasting card so that it sits still with a cream border, more or less, but only very, very tiny. Okay, so you can see that I've got a little bit of a border. And then this is one of that beautiful bold peony. And I did the whole thing, but then I've just fussy cut this flower out. And the beauty of those embossing folders is that the embossing is so deep. Oh, nice. Oh, you've made my day, Lisa. As I say, the embossing is so deep on those folders that fussy cutting the elements out of your design is really quite easy. And I would always say, if you're fussy cutting, move the paper, not the scissors, because that makes it a lot easier. It's a lot more controllable if you do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on the front here. Now I've got a little bit of misalignment here because of how I've put my papers on the front, but I really don't think it'll matter. Okay, so that's my front cover, and I have 3D'd the flower on the front just to give it a little bit of depth, and then I've used the sentiments from the Hello Love die set, So I'm just going to show you what I've used as I get to it, because I think that'll probably be easier. All right. So the only thing I haven't reached out is the bold peony, but I stenciled it all, then I cut it out and I've embossed it, and then I've fussy cut the flower out of the middle. Okay, so this was one that I did on a live, and I said I'll use it on another project. Well, this is the project that I'm going to use it on. Okay, so that's my front cover, and then I'll put my back cover on. There's nothing on the back. I'm undecided whether to put anything on the back or not. Might just leave it as it is. I'll see how I feel when the rest's finished. And then again, just try giving yourself a tiny little cream border all the way around. See, it fits better on the back because I've put the papers in exactly the right place on the end flap. So the back cover actually looks better than the front cover. But whatever. Okay, so front cover, back cover, spine. I really like that. And those are the super sparkle gems that Lisa bought out ages and ages ago, which she can no longer get. Okay, so inside pages. As I say, this took me quite a while to decide really what to put on what page. So let's put the first page in. Now on here I have used, let me find it, this little beauty, which is what is on the show tomorrow. And it is such a beautiful die set. So you get 3 dies in here. You get the actual symmetrical circles. This is an edge cut, so it can go on the edge of your card. It doesn't have to. Then you get the die that will cut that shape out for you. And then you get a decorative edge die, which you can then cut a piece of paper behind it or a piece of card behind it and have a beautiful decorative edge on that design. Really, really clever. Okay, so as I say, 3 dies in that set, and this is what Lisa will have on her show tomorrow. So all I've done is cut my piece of designer paper from that vintage garden, and I've cut a piece of cream card, same cream card as I've used for this, with that die. Okay, so I measured my card so that I knew where the die was going to sit, and then I've used the first die, this one, to cut a piece of vellum that can sit behind it. Okay, don't do what I did. What a dingbat. I did it all, I cut it all, I put my vellum behind it. What did I do? I glued it to my paper, so I can't stick anything in it, whereas I can with this one. So don't do what I do, unless you want to do that and perhaps add a little flower down here. You could do that to save it rather than waste it. I was so annoyed. I thought, how am I going to save this? I thought, I'll just do another one done, it's quicker. And then I've used the butterfly. Now this was from a Slimline die set. I think it was called Beautiful Butterflies or something like that. It's way gone. One of the die sets that Lisa bought out, and I'm pretty sure it's not available anymore. No worries, Marion, don't worry. So the actual die comes with 3 butterflies in it, and what I've done is I've actually cut the butterflies out of the die and I've just glued it down the middle. And again, I've used those gems, so there's gold and silver in here, and I've used the silver. Okay, and then the sentiment is from the washi sets. I think the sentiments are the same in both sets, so the cute animals and the florals. And I've just backed it again onto that cream card, and that will just sit inside there like that. Okay, so this is going on the front inside of my album. So this is page 1. I think in all, because I've got 5 sheets, and I wouldn't go any bigger than that, because otherwise then you're going to have to start and mess around with the base die and make it bigger and all sorts. So stick with 5 pages or even 4, but don't go any more. So yeah, there will be 20 pages, and that includes the front and the back cover. Okay, and then you're going to need 20 pieces of designer paper. Now, as I say, if you wanted to, you could add another piece of card behind that designer paper, but I really wanted that cream border. I just think it sets these papers off really lovely. So I just wanted that cream border all the way through. Okay, so page 2. What shall we go with page 2? Won't use that one. I've got that many pages here. Okay, so this is my next one. And again, the sentiment comes from the washi set. And these flowers were from the floral elements. And these leaves here were from one of the, was it variegated leaf? No. Roses. They're rose leaves anyway. And I've actually used the debossed side because I'd already coloured the card and I didn't like the colour of that. It didn't sort of sit with everything else. Flipped them over and I've used the debossed side, and I've just inked those up with garden sage. Okay, and then just stuck them down in a little random sort of display, and then added the sentiment. So this is all about using whatever you've got and adapting it. So thinking outside the box a little bit, which will become more obvious when I get to some of the others. You'll see what I mean more than like with this first couple of pages. Okay, so that's that page. Turn it over. And then this was, where is it? Here. This die set, Slimline Bouquet Corner. Now I know it's a slimline, long slimline die, but I've cut it down. And I mean, you might actually be able to see the join, as Eric Morecambe would say, but I don't really mind. So I've literally taken the top of the die. I haven't used the outside die. This die set comes with 3 dies. So you've got an outside die, then this one in the middle, and then a little flower that you can add and sort of decoupage onto here. Okay, but I haven't used this die because I didn't want the crosses, because I wasn't sure whether they would all line up and match up. So all I've done is cut that out so it cuts into your card, and then I've just gone round and cut it out with a knife and a ruler. Okay, so I've then added some vellum behind it, so pink vellum from the Modern Florals box kit, which gives it a little bit more stability, but it means you can still see your little tag that you put behind it. I haven't put anything on any of the tags yet. I will do, but obviously I wanted to get as many pages decorated as I could. So I've just lifted these a little bit. Obviously they're gonna lie flat when you shut it, but I've put a little pearl in the middle just to sort of lift the design a little bit, if you like. And this is what I mean about just thinking a little bit outside the box with what you've got and how you can adapt it to fit what I'm doing here. It's actually been quite nice to look at something and think, can I use that? Just 60 minutes. It would, Janet, it would be a lovely idea, because you can put all sorts of pertinent comments on your little tags, or you could even use little photographs, you know, so that you make it like a little album that's got like a memory album, if you like. So next page, I've used the decreasing stripes die set. Okay, and again I've just used this die and this die. Okay, so one die will cut out your stripes and this die will sort of cut it out and give you all these beautiful stitched lines around it. And then you can sit your tags inside those decreasing stripes so that you've got sort of a holder for your tags. Okay, I thought that was dead clever. But it's, like I say, it is just about using whatever you've got in a different way. So, you know, don't look at something and think, no, that's no good. Look at it, take it out of the packet and work out whether you could actually do anything with it and make it sit in an album, and either pop something behind it, or like I've done here with the decreasing stripes, pop something into it. Okay, I've used this again further on, but slightly differently. Okay, I think this is really nice. I like this. And then we'll go with this one. This is the Posy of Roses stencils, embossing folder and die, and I've stenciled it, I've die cut it, I've embossed it, and then I've stuck it on my card where I want it and just trimmed the excess. Now, I know a lot of you think that's sacrilege and what a waste of all that stenciling, but it isn't really, is it? It's a bit of card. And it's about making something look a little bit different to the norm. And again, I've used one of the sentiments from the washi set. This was one of the white ones. They come in, I think it's blue, pink, green, white and yellow. And I've just used the white, and then I've just inked over it with which one did I? Coral Beach I've used on that one, just to make it sort of match in colour wise. And what I've tried to do on all of them is actually pick out a colour in the background for the piece that I've used here. So on here there's quite a lot of pink in the background on the paper, and on here there's quite a lot of that sort of turquoisey blue. So I've tried to match what I've used with what's in the papers in the background. Okay, so that's that one. And then so this is the other beauty that's on the show tomorrow, and this is, let me move these out of the way, this is the beautiful Garden Cosmos edge cuts. And this was the one that I used last week. I love this. I think it's a fabulous, really clever little bit of kit. There's just one die, but you can do so much with it. And again, I've cut it out. I've backed it with vellum, and then I've just fussy cut the vellum around the shape. So I haven't been too particular, but again, the vellum just gives it that bit of stability for you to be able to put your sentiment behind it. And again, this is from the washi set, and it's just, I've added the washi sentiment just to a piece of card, just so that it can sort of slide in there like that. And I think it's, I got a bit carried away with pockets, so there might be a few too many pages with pockets on, but you know what, whatever. I've had fun, and that's what it's all about. It's about enjoying what you do and trying to do something a little bit different, and trying to use as much of your stash all the time as you can. Because I know we're all guilty of the same thing. You know, we all buy this stuff and we get it home and we use it once, and then Lisa brings something else out and we get that home and we use it once, and so on and so on. And we're all guilty of it. We all do it. So this was a way of trying to utilise some of the older stuff, and along with some of the newer stuff, because obviously I've used the Garden Cosmos and I've used the symmetrical circles, which I love. So it sort of, again, once again, just proves that everything Lisa brings will always work with everything Lisa's bought you in the past. And that's, for me, that is value for money. So, next one, I've used this beautiful set. So the duo backgrounds, the stitch circles. Okay, now there is a duo backgrounds stitch squares as well, and there's also duo background stitched hearts, and they all work in exactly the way, but I've only used the one die. You get 2 dies. Let me show you. Again, not sure if this is still available, but they all work on the same principle. So if this one isn't and the others are, they all work on the same principle. So you get 2 dies, and I've only used this one. Okay, and they will line up beautifully. You know, some people say they don't, but they do, I promise you. And it just gives such a fabulous piece of card to use. But as I say, I've only used the one just to give me that little background, and I've added, I've got 2 pages now. I've added some text in the background, so can you see the script stamp out of the textures stamp set, my all-time favourite set of stamps, this one. So I've used this a couple of times within this little album. Again, not sure if there are any of those, but I put the text on the card and then ran it through the die cutting machine with the one plate that gives me the stitching all the way around these holes here. And then again, cut into, this was from the wildflower spray, and I've just cut into it, and I've fussy cut this flower out, and I've stuck it on the top. Remember though, when you're adding your glue, only add your glue between the holes. So you can't just put glue all over the back of this flower and stick it down, otherwise you won't be able to take this in and out. You'll have glue and it will have stuck your piece of card down, a bit like I did with the symmetrical circles. Okay, so be careful. So I've 3D'd this, so I've used 3D glue just to make it look a little bit different, and then I've made sure that I've only put that 3D glue gel in between those holes and it doesn't slip. Okay, that way you won't stop your card or tag or whatever you're putting in there. You won't stop that happening, and it'll sit in there beautifully like that one does. Okay, and again, I'm popping that down with that little bit of cream border on there. I don't make mini albums as a rule. It's not something I've ever really sort of, I don't know why either, because I've really enjoyed it. But I just thought it was something a little bit different, and it gives you another way of using that die set, which, you know, it isn't just for envelopes. You can do all sorts with it. You can also make a slimline sort of full-size album as well. That's a little bit more complicated. I might do a little video for that one and then just add it onto YouTube, but it won't be yet a while. I might just do the basics just to show you, and then you can decorate it how you want to. So what shall we go with now? Let's go with this one. So again, this was a piece that I did for a live. Is this the budding peony? Can't remember what it's called, but I just cut the one flower head off because it sort of sits here and I didn't want it to cover this pink, so I've gone with this because of this pink in the paper behind it, so that it all sort of ties in. And again, one of the sentiments from the washi set. So, you know, it's a good way of stretching your imagination, making you think outside the box. Suggest me, yes, Bonnie, you could put vellum behind it, but I've used vellum behind so many others. I wanted to do it a little bit different, but yes, you could. Okay, so that's that one. Now, I like the colours I've used. You might not like the colours that I've used. You might think, oh, she used that colour for it, doesn't match the papers. But I'm happy with it. And if I'm happy with it, then that's all that matters really, isn't it? So, you know, go with what you enjoy using. Absolutely, Suzette, and would make a beautiful little keepsake album. Really lovely. So we'll go with this one. Again, wildflower spray. And all I've done is just add it down to the bottom, and I've used the part of the design that fills the bottom of this card so that my card doesn't slip out of the bottom. Okay, I won't be using this one because it says happy anniversary and I don't want it to be a certain celebration specific. I've only used this as an example to show you. Okay, so, and again, I've used the wildflower spray one that I did in a live because there's quite a lot of pink in the background on this paper, so that's why I've gone with that on there. It's a great way of using up bits that you've either thought, I don't like colours now, I've done it, or I made a bit of a mistake on a certain part. If you've made a mistake on one part of it, cut that part off. Just use the part that looks good on your pages. So never throw anything away, because even though you might not like it on the day you do it, or you've made a mistake, just size of the largest panel. It's the size of the biggest die in the set, Lorraine, and it is roughly 8 3/4. It's not quite, but it's near enough for 8 3/4 for everything else to come down 1/4 of an inch. Is that okay? So I didn't actually, well, I did measure it just to make sure that what I was telling you was right, but it's the size of that die. So the main panel, the first one, is the size of that die. And then, like I say, each of these pages is 11 by 9.5. So 11 high, 9.5 wide. So my paper is 9 by 10.5. Just so that I've got that little bit of cream border all the way around it. Okay, so that's that one. And then I just wanted a design on one with just a sentiment. So these are the beautiful buds. One of my favourite flower die sets that Lisa's ever bought out. I love these. I think they're so elegant. And they look so different depending on what colour cardstock you use. I've got dozens of these cut out, and I just happened to have colours cut out that matched what I was doing. So that was a perfect match for me. So again, just add my glue and then add that down to the panel. I know this flower sits a little proud of the paper, but it's still going to be within everything else, so I'm not really worried about it. Okay, we'll do a couple more. This is one of my favourites. So here I've used a really early set. I mean, this is number 25, so you can tell how early this is. And I've just used this scalloped essential edge here to cut my piece of card. Again, I've cut my piece of card to measure the same as the designer paper, and then I've just placed my die across the middle. I've added some text into the background. Can you see that? And then this is from the Summer Rose, but again, one that I did on a live and I've not used it yet, so I fussy cut it so I've got no white border on it and just added it to that little flap there. And then obviously I can put I've got another, put my tags in there like that. I really like that one. I like the colours. Oh, I've got a tag, look. I'll put my tag in there. And like I say, there isn't anything on any of the tags yet, but I will do that at a later date when I've decided where this is going, if it's going anywhere. I might just keep it. So add that down to there. So you see it's using lots and lots of things, but they all tie in together. And I think that's a really cool way of making stuff. So all the little tags are from this set. So this came with the Christmas kit, and these are the little tags, and they're so cute. They really are so cute. So you get 4 of those, and they're just perfect for this sort of thing because they're just the right size. And then this one, I've used this mini messages. Again, this is a reasonably early one, number 81. Now I think we're on 250 something, might even be more than that. So you can tell how early this one was. And again, I've cut it down and I've added vellum to the back of it to give me that pocket, and then I can slide my little tag in there like so. And I will just try and finish the pages that I've done. I've got one that I haven't managed to decorate, because if I hadn't stopped and tidied my desk and my floor, I wouldn't have been here. So I've just got one left to do. I might actually use the one that I messed up, so I might actually use this one and then just add some flowers down here and a little sentiment. Save me cutting anything else. So these are the pages. This is the postcard stamp, and again one of those butterflies from that butterfly panel. And I've cut this down, out, and I'd sort of distressed and everything. So I just wet the middle, tore it down the middle, and then distressed the edge on there. And I've just glued it three sides just to make myself a pocket. So that was that one. These are from the poppy, corner poppy, which again die cut and embossed, and I'd cut these pieces off to use the main piece on another design. So these were what I was left with, and this little leaf piece here is from the washi set. So I've hidden where I've cut these poppies away by using this leaf, and again I've used the sentiments from the washi set. This was the floral bouquet, and again I haven't embossed this one, I've just stenciled it and die cut it, and then I've just placed it where I want it. I'll put a little sentiment this side, and then cut down the rest. And then this one here, I can put this on facing pages. Again, I've used the decreasing stripes, but I've put it on horizontally instead of vertically, and I've just weaved that little flag die, which was from the original flag that Lisa bought out, which she bought back not so long ago. So I thought, well, if I do 2 facing each other, then I can put the little flag die in and just weave it in instead of just sliding it in like it was on that other page. And it just, I think it just gives you a different way of popping things into an album and securing them in without them sort of, falling out all over the place. I think it's a really clever idea, and it is such a really clever little die actually. So what I've done is I've cut it out, and I've used the same end but opposite each other. You with me? So this is the fat end, if you like, and these stripes get progressively smaller. So I've used the same end of the die, but I've faced each other. Do you know what I mean? So that was that one, and I might as well just put these in. And I'm going to put that duff page in as well, and then I'm just going to add some flowers in the corner by the circles, and then at least I can say we made an album and we finished it. I mean, when you put in these pages in, it does get a little bit more difficult to stick them down, but it doesn't really take much effort. You just got to be a little bit more careful, because obviously you can't can't press down as much on what's already there. So just pop those on there. I hope so, Jean. That was really what I was after doing, was giving you different ideas to fill your pages with, really. So I'm going to pop that one on there. So, and again, I've used that butterfly and those super sparkle gems because I think they look really expensive, especially because they're silver and gold. Excuse me. Okay, so that's going on there, and then I am going to pop that other one on the back page, just so that I can say, oh, we finished the album. So that one's going there, and then I'll just put some flowers down there, and I'll put a sentiment in the top corner, maybe a couple of gems or something. But prepping everything takes more time than actually putting it together. I mean, what's it? Well, 5 to 2, so just under an hour to put it together. But I think it's well worth it. So there you go. Lovely little mini album. And then, like I say, just pop a hole here and on the back one and thread some ribbon through, or some twine, or some different coloured twine, whatever you want to use that matches everything else, and you've got a lovely little mini album to give to whoever. I really like that. I've had such fun making that. It's made me think. It's actually made me stop and think about what I've got, how I can use it, how I can adapt it. Just really satisfying to do. So I look forward to seeing what you all make. I'm looking forward to the birthday one. I'm looking forward to the baby one. What was the other one? There were three people said they've got ideas, so I look forward to seeing them, obviously after the event, because you don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I really think you'll enjoy it, and I really think you'll get a lot of satisfaction out of spending the time putting all the pages together. So it's fun, and I hope you enjoyed that. Hope I've given you lots of ideas to use, lots of different sets that we've all had for ages and ages and not done anything with. So there you go. So thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all again next Monday. Don't forget, Lisa is streaming into Create and Craft tomorrow at 11 o'clock with those fabulous circles and the Garden Cosmos edge cuts. So well worth a watch. Power cuts permitting, obviously, but I'm sure it will go without a hitch tomorrow. It will be fine. And then she will be live on Friday night. So have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you all tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and Friday at 7. So take care, everybody, and look after yourselves. See you soon. Bye now.